For those who maybe aren't exposed to you and to your work, how would you describe the essence of what you've been working on over the past 25, 30 years? What is getting things done?
It was uncovering the principles about what you apply to get your head clear when you've got more to do than you can do, and your life is busy and you have incredible amounts of inputs that you have to deal with. And it's about how do you stay clear about all that so you can make good, intuitive, strategic decisions about what to do about your life and your work and all the other stuff.
It's interesting getting things clear and clarity. I feel like most people, when they would think about getting things done or productivity, they don't really put, clarity and making sure you have, this space in mind as the first step. They would just, I'm not sure what they'd think. Maybe it'd be something about systems or doing something like that. But how did you fall on clarity and making sure your brain
Well,
has the space?
you need organization and you need system and you need best practices to keep your head clear,
Hmm.
assuming that you're allowing all that stuff to come into your ecosystem. So, you know, if you wanted to just go rice bowl and cave and go to Tibet and sit there and not get any of that, you probably don't need or won't, what I came up with. Though you still probably, the principles are still there. If you want to get control, there are 5 things you need to do. And I didn't make these up, I just recognized them. You need to capture what's got your attention, clarify what you mean, organize the results in some place if you can't finish them in the moment, reflect and review on all that stuff on some regular basis so you trust what you're doing. And then there are 6 horizons. Well, why are you here? What's your purpose? What's the vision of success? Where are you going? What do you need to do between here and there? And uh, what are all the things you need to finish in order to make that happen?
Hmm.
And what are all the things you need to maintain at some level so that you have a healthy engine that gets you there? And then what are the next steps you need to take on all the moving parts? It's that simple and that hard.
That seems to be the essence of a lot of people I've talked to. It's always so simple and never easy.
It's not like a foreign language or some new technology or anything like that. It's stuff everybody does a version of it. Anybody
Hmm.
listening or watching this that keeps a calendar, they're already doing that. So my brain can't do it. I need a system to reflect to me where I need to be when.
Hmm.
And most people are trying to use their brain as their office, and your brain is their crappy office. And that's
It's
just cognitive science.
I used to in my youth when I was younger, I'd always be like, I don't need a calendar. I don't need to take notes. Like I'll just remember it. I'll do this. And yeah, I would remember it. But the reason I'd remember is because so much of my cognitive load was spent reminding myself to remember it and doing all these
Yeah.
things.
Or you were, oh my God, I should have been there 5 minutes ago. Oh shit. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Yeah. You said you didn't come up with these. You recognize them. At what stage in your life were you able to recognize it, and what do you think allowed you to have the
Well, it,
space to
it, it
notice
was
them?
not one morning I woke up with all this. It was a stage of, you know, epiphanettes, as I say. I recognize this, I recognize that, I recognize that. I started my own little consulting practice back in, 19, oh God, 40 years ago. And I found this for myself because I'd had a background in trying to study myself, get how do I stay clear myself? Martial arts, meditation practices, spiritual explorations, etc. And discovered how valuable it was to have a clear head when you're trying to do anything more complex. So my life got more complex. So I started to then piece together these pieces of this methodology that wound up becoming the methodology that 15 years later, 20 years later, I put into the book on getting things done.
Mm-hmm.
But it was not an overnight process, believe me.
Yeah. Why is it that all these years later people are still drawn to it, still attracted to your philosophy and to getting things done? What do you think people are missing?
Because the way the world has changed is you're the victim of what I refer to as channel creep. how many things do you have to look at, uh, Chase, to make sure you're not missing anything
Mhm.
that you need to pay attention to?
Mhm.
So you've got Slack, you have Evernote, you have Microsoft, you have Word, you have Google Text. Oh my God. What's changed is the volume of input and the speed of change. So, your parents probably didn't need to change their careers or their lifestyle more than, two or three, four times, maybe. I don't know.
Mhm.
You're going to have to do that tonight, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like based upon what's going to show up on your email, what's going to show up in your life, what's going to show up in your head when you wake up in the morning. Oh my God, I need to, I ought to, whatever. And so the the volume of options has increased exponentially. So the necessity to be able to know how to then engage with all of that, which are the GTD principles, the getting things done stuff. How do I engage with input that I've let come into my life and stay on top of it? Have just increased. So the methodology hasn't changed. It won't. You're going to need all this stuff when you go fly to Jupiter in 2090. Uh, you still need to capture stuff, clarify stuff, organize the stuff, reflect on options, and you still need to know, why are we flying to Jupiter? Why are we,
Mhm.
what are we trying to do, and what's our vision of success? And so all of these questions are just, in a sense, age-old questions. I just recognize them, organize them in a way to make them uh, um, accessible for people one by one, in terms of these pieces of methodology, so that they could stay on top of their world and and function optimally. But
So,
I'm not. But Chase, I'm not a motivational speaker. I'm not a habit change expert. I just defined what the game was,
yeah.
and then you can either recognize the games. All you have to do is read my books, Getting
Mhm.
Things Done, and you'll recognize the game. People recognize it, but whether they implement it or not, it's up to them. How much they want to implement it, how frequently they want to use it, how consistently they want to use it over time. That's people's individual accountabilities. That's
Mhm.
not my job.
You recognize the game. What just to clarify and simply put, what is the game? Like what in a sentence or two?
Well, you need to stay in control and you need to stay focused.
Stay in control, staying focused. And with your principles, control being the first one, or excuse me, capture being the first one. What what is capture? How do we implement that? What does that actually mean?
Well, what's got your attention?
Everything.
If you get off this call with me, Chase,
Yeah.
where does mine go? What do
Mine's
you
gonna
think
go.
you need to do?
Yeah, I'm always running in the back of my mind what I've got to do for the podcast. I've got to prep Monday's episode. I need to write all the
Okay, prep
descriptions.
Monday's episode. Let's
Yeah.
take that. You
Okay.
write that down, and you go, well, great. What do you need to do about that next?
I need to create the thumbnail, create titles, email the guest,
And
let
how
them
would
know.
you do that? In a
Uh,
Word doc,
yeah,
online? What?
I've got a few systems in place. Yeah, I go through the transcript, pick out good, distill the essence, kind of get the essence of the episode, and then I come up with titles based off of that, and then I go to Canva.
Where?
That
What?
is used in Google Drive, Google Doc.
Okay. Well,
Hmm.
cool. So that's your next step. Do you have that recorded somewhere
I do, yeah.
that you be reminded of that as soon as you get off with me?
Yep, yep. I've got a whole host of sticky notes on my desk here.
Yeah. Well, sticky notes are great.
Yeah.
That's the capture step,
Mm.
right? So
Hmm.
then the outcome would be what? That's all done. You get to click that off as done when what's true. In order to get to what that you get to mark off as done.
I'm done with it once I have it uploaded and scheduled and it's automated at that point. I am done.
Okay. Well,
Hmm.
that's your project.
Hmm.
Do you have that written somewhere?
I do on this another sticky note here. I've got Monday's episode number 72.
But the finish on that, because you may get feedback on from it. Something may not work on it. You may
Mm,
need to reschedule it. See, outcome is a hard thing for a lot of people to grasp. Why is this on my mind? This is done when what's true.
okay.
So outcome and action are the essence of productivity. What am I
Okay.
trying to produce? And what do I need to do next to reallocate my resources to get to move toward that and move the needle?
Okay.
So that's the essence of getting things done.
Yeah.
And most people don't think about that.
Yeah, they think about the
You,
project, but not they don't
they
define what
they they may
finished is.
have that, but they haven't defined it as a
Yeah.
project to then keep it reminding themselves, is this finished? Is this finished? Is this
Mm,
finished?
mm,
Once a week, you better look at that and go, is this finished yet?
mm,
Is it complete? Is
mhm,
there something still open loop about this I need
mm.
to manage?
Okay.
And you nor uh, most other people I've ever worked with in my 40 years think that way.
Yeah. No, clearly I had issues kind of defining what that would be as done. With the capture step, how far out do we is it a day at a time? Is it a week at a time? What are we trying
No,
to
you
capture?
capture whenever it pops into your head.
Mm. Is there tools that you like to utilize for that? Do you have pen and paper?
Yeah, I have major high tech
It's the pen paper pad. It's
pen and paper. It's fast. You
mhm,
don't need to click on anything. Don't need to make sure your batteries are alive.
mm,
Any of
mhm,
that. And if I'm out walking around and I have a thought, oh yeah, that's something I need to manage or take care of. That's been with me for 40 years.
m'kay.
Pen, paper,
Yeah. So just to
and it goes with my plastic, which
mm,
goes with me everywhere
so to clarify,
that I need.
we something comes in our mind, we capture it, and then we need to go that's where most people stop if they do that, but we need to go to step further and we need to actually define what done looks like so we can close that loop.
Well, defined what done and doing looks like.
Mm,
You know, uh, okay, well, great. Is that something to still move on? I
mhm,
capture a lot of stuff. I wake up in the morning and go, God, too much wine, David. That's what a dumb idea. You're crazy. But that one I go, ooh, hmm, yeah, I might want to do something about my wife's birthday or
mm,
my or whatever that I
mhm,
may have grabbed an idea, but I still need to decide, is it actionable? Yes or no? And if it is, what would I need to do next? And what's the final outcome that I'm committed to complete?
mm,
And that's a mental muscle that
mhm,
most people have not trained. Believe me, I spent thousands of hours with some of the best and brightest people you'd ever meet on the planet, walking them through that process about all the stuff that's on their mind.
mm.
And most people have not done that yet.
Why do you think most people haven't? Why do you think our default is just to keep it up here and just not define it?
I don't know. Habit. I don't know. It's people's addiction to ambient anxiety. You're willing to wake up at the 3 o'clock in the morning and go, "Oh shit, I should have."
Mm,
You know, if you're if you don't want that, you better have captured it when it showed up.
mhm,
Better have done something with it so you could appropriately engage with what you need to do about it, if anything,
mhm.
and put that parked in then some trusted system. So again, this is not rocket science unless you're building rockets.
Ambient anxiety. What do you define that as?
Willingness to tolerate, oh, I should have, I ought to, I need to. Oh my God. Everything from the light bulb that you need to change in your house or your apartment. Everything to, gee, we need to figure out whether we should merge with this company or not.
Mhm. Is that people's willingness or whenever they have a moment to sit down, they're so used to being like, "Oh, what's next? What's next?" And
Yeah,
they
yeah, no,
fill
no.
that?
People are used to their brain being their office. Your brain's a crappy office.
Mhm, mhm,
The cognitive science has figured out there's only four things you can keep on your head before you start to be driven by latest and loudest, not strategic, intuitive intelligence. So I didn't make that up. I just discovered that for myself personally about 40 years ago.
mhm.
Uh, but that's a lot of what my methodology was: is how do you keep that stuff off your head? How do you get all that stuff off your mind, Chase? That's on your mind.
Right, capture. You gotta get it out.
Well, you got to capture it. It could be a post-it on your fridge for
Yeah.
office for your supermarket, buying list, or it could be who knows, whatever it is. But why should it occur twice?
Mhm.
See, if you have a thought twice, that means you're not appropriately engaged with whatever that thought's about.
Mm.
So if you get into the value of a really clear head to make good, clear strategic decisions, you better not have thoughts more than once.
Mhm.
And it's fine to have them once. Oftentimes that's where the cool stuff shows up. Oh, what a good idea. Great. Grab it, park it somewhere, decide what you need to do about it, if anything. You know. So once is what your brain is for, is like making decisions about what you might or should or could ought to do about something, or there's something that's got your attention that needs to change. But
Mhm.
see, if you look outside right now, I don't know where you are,
Denver.
but in Colorado, yeah,
Mhm.
look outside. It's fine.
Mhm.
It's not overwhelmed. It doesn't have ambient anxiety.
Mhm.
It's all fine, right? It's only you and your relationship to that world that creates those kinds of tensions that show up in your head. That makes sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely makes sense. But just to repeat the premise that we've said before, simple, but not always easy. Like, we can always feel like the
Oh,
world's
this is one
crashing
of the
down.
hardest things in the world, is stop your head from trying to remember, remind,
Mhm.
prioritize, and manage relationships between all that stuff.
Mhm.
That's a huge habit that it takes people at least 2 years, if not more, to change. I've seen, given my experience,
Mhm.
to change that so that you have externalized your thinking process in such a way so that your mind is then used to make choices off the options, the best options, not just latest and loudest.
Mm. How does it feel? What does it look like? What's the value of having a clear head that's not always trying to catch up and rethink these ideas?
Relaxation, trust, confidence in what you're doing.
Mm.
And when I mean confidence, I mean, hey, this is exactly what I need to do. And here are the 600 things I'm not doing. And that's okay. Because
Mhm.
right now I'm having this conversation with Chase. And that's what I need to do right now. And everything else is on hold. So renegotiating with yourself all the stuff you might, would, could, should, ought to do, so that you can truly be present on what you're focusing on, what you're doing based on your choice, as opposed to, oh, I should be thinking about, I should, oh my God, don't forget that. Oh my God. So you may be thinking of stuff right now while we're talking
Mhm.
that you might need to then capture a note about. That's why I've got this right here. You know, this is my high tech capture tool.
Yeah.
While we're talking. So I'll grab that, but only once.
As a podcast host, the best conversations are the ones where I can get truly lost in and just get the flow of the conversation. And it's even times when the guest says something that I want to try and remember to ask a question for. Even then, I'm losing the flow of the conversation because I'm trying to think, like, want to
Sure.
hold something. So yeah, I've
No.
learned to keep that note nearby just so I can scrabble
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
scratch a word
No.
down so I can
Yeah.
continue
No.
to get lost.
No. Good for you, Chase.
What I've kind of parsed so far from this conversation is getting things done. This capture step maybe doesn't allow us to do everything. It allows us to prioritize and do the things that we actually need to be
No,
doing.
it allows you to capture stuff that may need you to do something about,
Yeah.
but you haven't decided what you might need to do about it yet.
Mm,
That's why step two, which is the clarify step, which is critical.
hmm
Is that something to do? Something on someday maybe? Is that a crazy idea?
hmm
Or what are you going to do about it? And then if you decide something you need to do about it and you can't do it right then, you better organize some reminder in sort of a trusted system so that sometimes your brain can let go. If you don't do that, your brain will not let go.
mm.
It will not let go.
I've stumbled upon this after being exposed to you and talking to a bunch of other people who talk about productivity. And it's funny how much I've been missing the clarify step. I just assume like, okay, I'm going to write this down and then I'll just get it done. But the clarify step is really what takes it off of your brain. Like not just writing it down, but then defining what done looks like or defining what the actual step is and what goes on is really what moves you, that like allows you to get it out of your brain. At least it was what it been my
Exactly.
experience.
Well, I refer to it as appropriate engagement. Are you appropriately engaged with your cat? Are you appropriately engaged with your partner?
Mm-hmm.
Are you appropriately engaged with your health? Are you appropriately engaged with, this podcast program? And that appropriate engagement, it doesn't mean you have to finish any of that. It just means you better decide, is there something I need to do about that? Something I need to change about that? Something I need waiting for about that? And then capture, get it, those out of your head and get those into a system so that
Mm-hmm.
some part of you says, I can rest. It's
Mm-hmm.
all, it's all there.
When you work with these big corporate CEOs, high achievers, these people who do all these things, and you talk to them about these first two steps, is there any pushback? Oh, that's too simple, or that's not what I was expecting there.
No, they all know they should do it.
Yeah.
Nobody says that's not what I should do.
Yeah.
They all go, oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I'm not pushing up against anything that people don't know that they need to do intuitively anyway
Mm-hmm.
about all this stuff that's on their mind. They're just addicted to having stuff on their mind.
Yeah. It seems like in today's day and age, there's some kind of people have this innate, oh, look how busy I am. Look what everything that I have to do. And while they kind of wear it as like a unfortunate badge of honor, it's like, oh, I can't, instead of having the freedom to say no or to be clarify and to be like, no,
Or
I actually,
to celebrate the fact that you've got a life that have that much potential,
yes.
the things you could be doing and how many
Mm-hmm.
things you could be engaged in that are
Mm-hmm.
productive, that could be helping you and other people.
Mm. What would step 3 of your process be?
Organize the results. If you can't finish it, oh, I need to call Susan. Great. If you can't call Susan right now, where are you going to park that reminder so that when you have a phone and have some time, that you're reminded you need to call Susan?
Mm-hmm.
Duh.
What's your preferred
Step
system for
three
that?
is organize and organize your projects. Chase, how many projects do you think you have? How many things do you think you have that one action won't finish that you need to make sure you conclude that you can check off as done?
Probably like
Let me
20
give
to
you a
30,
guess, between 30 and 100,
30 and 100. That's probably accurate. Yeah.
including all your personal. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
we need to fix that thing. We need to change that thing. I need to install that thing. I
Mm-hmm.
need to make sure that,
Yeah. As you said
those are
that,
all,
a bunch of things came into my mind to fit
of
those
course,
subjects.
you better write them down before we stop
What's your
because
preferred system for organizing these things? Is it still all just pen and
I
paper?
just use Outlook. I just use
Mm,
tasks or, to dos. That's
mm,
all. I need a list. I have a list of errands I need to run. I have a list of calls I need to make. I need a list of creative writing I need to do. I just have lists
mm-hmm,
because if you nail this down to the next steps you need to take about all the open loops you've got, Chase, you're going to have between 150 and 200
yeah.
right now, right
Mm-hmm,
now. So when you go out to the grocery store to buy stuff, you don't want to see 200 things. You'd rather see some contextualized list.
mm,
Well, here are the errands, or here's the out and about stuff I need to do. Here are the phone calls I need to make. Here, whatever, and that's how I organize it.
mm,
It's hard. It's not hard to do. It's easy to
yeah.
do, and in Outlook, just with uh, next steps.
Mm-hmm. Are you familiar with uh, Tiago Forte's work and the idea of building a second brain or a second brain?
Yeah, he got it from me.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what it sounds like. Because I just finished his book. How? How to Build a Second Brain by Tiago Forti, and then talking to you and prepping for you and being exposed to your work, I was like, I'm just a second brain. Like, it's the second brain is the process of me getting things done to keep my mind clear, so I don't have to keep these ideas in my head.
Yeah, good for you.
What would step 4 be after we've organized?
You better look at all that stuff and make sure that it's current, and then you feel comfortable about what you're doing and not doing.
Mm. Do I guess a lot of people struggle with the idea of prioritization. They think everything that they do is important. Like, I have to do this, I have to do that.
Yeah. Well, I just uncovered or recognized 6 levels of our commitments with
Hmm.
ourselves. Top level purpose. Why are you here, Chase? Why are you on the planet? How are you doing? And what are your key things? What really, 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 really matters to you? That's the top level of your prioritization, right? So if I look at your list, that would be probably the primary thing we'd look at and say, does that support whatever that is?
Hmm.
But then, that's not going to help a lot in deciding which email to send. So then you come down a level, not down meaning less, but down meaning more operational. Okay,
Hmm.
what would wild success for Chase look like right now? 5 years from now, where do you want to be, Chase? What do you want to be doing? Is
I
that clear
want
to you?
it is, yeah.
Good. And so that would be a next level of focus and how many of these things are supporting that.
Hmm.
The next level down would be what do you need to accomplish within the next 12 to 24 months that's going to get you to that vision? So, objectives, goals, whatever, that's typical stuff organizationally, would be
Hmm.
this level. Okay, so what do you need to do to finish? Big stuff you need to finish. I need to make sure my podcast situation is up and under control. And then, the next level down would be what are all the things you need to maintain, areas of focus and responsibility? How's your finances? How's your cash flow? How's so the org chart would be at this level. Okay, how's human resources? How's tech?
Mm.
How's PR? How's those are not things you finish. Those are things you need to check in on. To see,
Mhm.
okay, how's and personally, how's your finances? How's your fun factor? How's your health? How's your relationships? How's your dog? You know, so that would be another level down. These are all different things that have different content, by the way. But
Mhm.
if you want to say what are your priorities, I don't think ultimately you can't ignore any of these. These are going to have to come into play. And then you have to say, well, what are all things I need to finish about my dog or about my relationship or about my whatever? That's the projects.
Mm.
We need to decide whether we're going to get married, or whether we're going to adopt, or whether we're going to buy a dog, or whether we're going to,
Mhm.
you know, and that's the project level. Most people have between 20 and 100 of those.
Mm.
And then you have all the actions you need to take about all those open loops,
Mhm.
emails to send, websites to search, stuff to talk to your partner about, things you need to buy, you know. And most people have between 150 and 200 of those busy people in their lives if they were really to do this total inventory
Mhm.
of all their commitments. So,
Most
so if you want to say, how do I set my priorities? I go, which one of those conversations is extent or that you
Mhm.
need to then uh, mature
Mhm.
or get more formalized so you feel more comfortable about what you're doing and what you're
Mhm.
not doing?
Is there a process that you like to go through for, let's say, the people who maybe don't have their life purpose or anything like that defined? Is
No,
do you,
I just ask them.
yeah, because most people in that young 20s, early
And
20s,
they
mid
don't
20s.
need to.
Yeah.
You don't need to figure this out. You'll figure it out soon enough. I'd say, well, what right now would drive you that you'd feel more comfortable if you finished or moved on right now? And that could be at some fairly low level. Well, I need to
Mhm.
get more food for X, Y, and Z, or I need to figure out what I'm going to do with this secretary I just hired, or I need to figure out, you know, so who knows?
Mhm.
People, again, that's where you come back to, well, what's got your attention? Why are you not really clear in your head right now about your life and what you're doing? And that could be any one, there could be a multiple level of answers to that. I've
Mhm.
just gone through them.
It's mm, youth, kids, they're taught, you can do anything, you can be anything. And then, but so many times when you're growing up, a lot of added pressure as well. It's like, oh, I need to find my purpose. I need to find my dream job, what I'm meant to be doing. And it feels like if you don't have that, you're not living up to your potential. You're settling, you're lost, you're behind. And it feels like everybody around you already has that figured
I
out.
published, Chase, I published Getting Things Done when I was 55,
Mhm.
the first version, first edition.
Mhm.
I had 35 jobs before I was 35.
Mhm.
So I just tell people, relax.
Mm.
You have a lot of life ahead of you. See what shows up. Take advantage of the opportunities you have. As I think whoever it was in the UK, I forget his name. He said there is no luck. There's only high preparation and taking advantage of opportunities. And that's what I've done.
Mhm.
I never, I had no strategy of doing what I'm doing right now, Chase. I had no idea I was going to be, you know, doing that. I would consider the GTD or the productivity guru. God knows. I was an American intellectual history major in the University of California, Berkeley, 1968. I thought I was going to be a history professor. And if you'd have told me I was going to be in the corporate training world and coaching and consulting world, I said, "What are you smoking? Come on, give me a break." You
Yeah.
know? So that was not a strategy. My life has not been strategic. It was just taking advantage of opportunities that showed up, given what I learned, who was interested in it, how do I
Mhm.
leverage that, and then what do I do next? And so uh, that may not. I mean, people may have been bored prodigies at age 8 to become concert pianists.
Mhm.
That wasn't me. But I don't negate that possibility that people may actually have in their gut or somewhere already some sort of a DNA about what they're supposed to do here on the
Mhm.
planet.
Mhm.
And so I have no formula for any of that, Chase.
Well, if I'm being honest, David, I kind of like that you don't. I like what your answer here. I like the response that slow down, relax, it'll come.
I guess it will.
Yeah.
Something's going to come anyway. Look outside. The world is not crazy. It's
Mhm.
fine. Relax. Let things show up as they show up, and they will show up. Believe me. All you have to do is stop at night, put the dogs to sleep, put your partner to sleep, have a good glass of wine, and sit there in the dark and let what shows up. And that's where most of my good ideas have happened. That's where most of my take advantage of that opportunity kind of thing shows up.
Mm. Do you have any proclivity towards meditation or any feelings on meditation and things?
Sure,
Yeah.
we do that right now. I'm doing it right now. I just relax and say, okay, I bring the light and essence of whatever it is, my higher powers. I say,
Yeah.
okay, be here present for this conversation.
Mm.
So that's a version of meditation. Now, meditation could be a lot more like, let me stop the world, stop my inputs visually and auditorially so that I can be quiet myself so I can listen to other voices and other sounds and other things that may show up. Because oftentimes those are hard to hear or hard to see or hard to recognize if you're in the noisy world.
Mm.
So stopping the world and stopping its noise or slowing it down or whatever are that hugely valuable.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And I still do that. I've done that for 50 years. So
I've
Yeah.
heard you talk about mind like water. What does that mean?
Well, Bruce Lee's sensei
Hmm.
basically coined that idea. You know, like, well, water does not over or underreact. It can rush, it can be powerful, it can be quiet, it can be calm.
Hmm.
So the whole idea is letting your mind be at that space. But if you're taking work to home in your mind and home to work in your mind, you're not in a mind like water state.
Hmm.
So the whole idea is having your mind clear enough so that whatever you focus on is not distracted by anything else.
Hmm. Hmm.
And you have, optimal resources to think about it and to engage with whatever's on your mind
So
at that moment.
not overreacting, not underreacting, just reacting appropriately to the stimulus. That's a cool idea, and it's one that I need to work on, and people around me need to work on. It's you see,
I need to work on it. Come on, I'm this is I'll be 81 this year,
yeah.
so I still have to do this. This is I sort of got awakened to the whole Zen idea
Mm,
back in high school when I was in 16, 17. And I read Suzuki, I read Alan Watts, I read, I was all that because I loved that idea. My wife and I are both Japanophiles. We love the whole idea, that whole Zen idea of
hmm.
being present, as the Stoics as well.
Hmm.
Marcus Aurelius, and the whole idea of accepting what's true right now, not not assuming that it should be different,
Mm,
but saying that is what's true right now, and
hmm.
then deciding what I'm going to do about that, if anything.
Yeah.
How do you need to manage that, or what do you need to do given your situation as you recognize it?
Are you
And
familiar
those
with?
are those are I, I could say stoicism or Zen, but this is just life.
Hmm.
Life's, life's like that. They just recognize that and had a way to frame it,
Yeah.
in that way.
Are you familiar with Naval Ravikant? He's a very successful investor, but also kind of I would describe him as like a modern day philosopher. He has got a lot of ideas and does a lot of thinking and writing on that aspect. But he's got this idea that we're all just locally reversing entropy in our corner of the universe, meaning the universe tends to trend towards chaos and disarray. A new building, if not maintained, will crumble. A new habit, if not continually maintained and thought about and put effort in, will cease to exist. If we're become fit and we get to our level of fitness, if we stop working out, we'll no longer maintain our fitness. And that idea, and this idea that you're 81, you still have to work on it. Oftentimes we think, oh, once I get to this finish line, this arrival fallacy, once I get here, I will have achieved it and I won't have to continue working on it. And that really is the wrong way to think about it. This is a journey, it's a continual process. There is no arrival on these things. We have to continually put the effort in to maintain it and to continue to improve.
If you like a clear head, if you find that valuable,
Yes.
because life is changing as you and I are speaking.
Mm-hmm.
When you get off this call with me, you're going to find stuff in your email that's going to change what you might do tonight,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a constant new input, new clarify, new organize, new recalibrate, new reflect, new engage based upon in some positive sense about why are you here, what are you doing, where are you going, is that on purpose, is that not, whatever. So you can't get rid of these principles.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to use these flying to Jupiter in 2090. You can't get rid of capturing, clarifying, and organizing and reviewing. You can't get rid of why are we doing this? What's the vision? What would success look like? You can't get rid of this kind of thinking. So yeah, yeah, you're not going to until you die, and even maybe not then. You're going to still have these issues.
Yeah. It's I was speaking to Dan Millman, the author of Peaceful Warrior, and he had he reminds me a lot of what you're talking about in terms of oftentimes we will, when we were talking about purpose, he says the journey, is just as important. But if we don't have the purpose, then we're just wandering around. We're not going in any direction. We're just doing the journey. So having the purpose as that guiding area is still just as important as the journey because it leads us, it puts us in that right direction.
But I, my purpose is a working hypothesis.
Mm,
It's not in stone. Just
yes.
like for right now, here's my best thought about why I'm here and what I'm doing. But that might change tomorrow.
Hmm. Hmm.
So don't get tied into even purpose
Mm,
or the
I like
bigger
that.
picture.
Yeah, I like that. It again, that helps alleviate the pressure of like, oh, I need to come up with this grandiose, perfect thing that
No, no,
is,
no, no. Forget it. Forget it. Just deal with today. Deal with
yeah.
tomorrow,
Mm,
and then see what shows up.
mm.
And
Well,
see, at some point, you may need to get clear about that to make some important decision. Should I
mm,
get married? Should we buy this house? Should I move? Should I take a new job? Should I? You know, those things. Then, when those kind of issues and questions show up, that's when you probably should think more about, well, what am I about, and
hmm,
what would really matter to me.
hmm,
But until then, you may not need to.
mm. Well, David, really appreciate your time. I like to close every podcast with two closing questions. The first is, who do you think I should speak to next, and why?
Yourself. You have a still small voice that knows you, Chase, better than anybody and loves you dearly and has huge patience and will wait as long as you want to wait
Mm,
to ask that question and to listen to the answer.
mm, mm. I do need to spend more time alone. You're not the first person to recommend that to me. Just like I'm fine being alone. I don't have issue. I know some people don't. I actually enjoy it. I have that time, but often that time alone is not actually spent in peace or in quiet or in thought. It's, I'm doing these things, I'm
You don't need
progressing.
to do anything.
Yeah.
Just shut the fuck up and listen.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know, don't pressure yourself to do anything.
mm,
Say whatever happens and whatever shows up, cool.
hmm,
If nothing, cool. What a great place to be.
yeah.
But
It's
but that's where my best ideas have shown up. That's where a lot of my direction and intuition has emerged in those kind of don't even make yourself think I have to meditate, have to think
yes.
about my purpose, have to think screw it.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Because I mean, my base nature or the nature of people who are maybe hard charging, high achievers, like they want to be successful is like, well, you tell me to sit here and quiet and I'm going to do it better than anybody. So I'm going to sit here. And then it's like, and that ruins it. It takes it away from everything that we've been talking about and saying is we need to try less, do less,
Unless more shows up,
and less more shows up.
because that's where a lot of the more will show up. Oh, now I need to. Oh my God, I ought to. I don't know what I'm going to do about this, and that often shows up in your quiet space.
Mm, mm.
And pay attention, pay attention.
Second question is based off a Ralph Waldo Emerson quote. If we encounter a man of rare intellect, we should ask him what books he reads. What's a book you would recommend for me?
Mm, a recent book by a wonderful, smart guy named Rutger Bregman, Dutch guy, called Moral Ambition.
Moral Ambition. What's that
Um,
about?
it's about a lot of very smart people get very smart degrees from Columbia and Harvard or whatever, and become and then go into financial consulting and whatever,
Hmm.
and they're wasting their mental energy on stuff that has no effect on the improvement of the planet.
Mm,
And so it's really about how people we need to start to recognize there are very smart people, very sophisticated people out there wasting their talents and energies because they're engaged in occupations that make no difference on the planet. So he's a huge champion of inviting those people, corralling those people to then start to leave their what they're currently doing to do some more constructive work, given their brains and their capabilities.
Hmm.
Great,
Hmm.
great book, by the
Hmm.
way.
Oh,
And yeah, I'm also in the middle of reading something called uh, Wilding, a woman who changed her farm in England from just a regular type of farm to turning it over to nature,
hmm.
and how difficult that was and all the challenges uh, she went through to
Hmm.
try to change the regulations and to get her ability to be able to let nature sort of take over.
Hmm. It's interesting.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know you've got several books. Where would you recommend people start with your work? Should they start with the first, getting things done?
Well, the new edition in 2015 of Getting Things Done is a great manual for all this. It's pretty
Hmm.
deep if people want to get into that. I just define the game, and that just defines the game. How much people want to use it, how interesting people find of it, up to them. But that's there. Right? If they want to see what that is, they can go to gettingthingsdone.com, YouTube. They
Hmm.
can search David Allen YouTube and all kinds of, you know, GTD, all kinds of my stuff. Snack on if you want to snack on me and my methodology and what this all been about. There's a huge range of opportunities for people to do that.
Fantastic. Yeah. I'll have
There's a
links
free
to.
newsletter. We have a free newsletter. So if you go into the website, gettingthingsdone.com, and go onto the website, you can just sign up for their free newsletter. And I do essays regularly on there and information on there regularly about
Hmm.
our stuff.
Fantastic. I'll have links to your website and to your YouTube and to your newsletter all below that
Okay.
people can just click. David, again, I really appreciate your time. I appreciate your work. It's something that everybody needs to work on. I know I do, and I've seen great value in it as well. It's been really good for me, and I really appreciate what you've done
Thank,
and what you do.
yeah, well, yeah, thanks, Chase. This was fun. Good luck.